see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day.
Hello and welcome to Tune In to Wellness Today. My name is Lisa Marie and I am the host of today's show. It is so wonderful to be back here on the set of Tune In to Wellness Today after taking a few months off for this summer. Today I have a wonderful guest that I'm going to introduce to you. We're going to hear all about her wilderness therapy programs that she offers. We're also going to learn a little bit more about holistic wellness. And we're going to speak about how you can be well and learn to let go of anything that you're holding on to. So I'm going to do a meditation at the end of today's program, right before the end of today's program, and I'm going to ask you to take a pen and paper so that you can participate in this meditation. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to my guest today, Donna Gagnon from Prinpaw. Donna has an extensive background in the entertainment industry as well as event planning. She has worked with organizations like Universal Studios, Disney. She has worked with corporations, 100-level corporations. She has done a lot in the media world, entertainment world. And without further ado, let's introduce you to Donna Gagnon. Welcome, Donna.
Well, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
I am so glad that you were able to join me today and be here and to entertain and to share with all the people that, who are listening today what it is that you do and all the healing wellness programs that you do. But before we talk about your new focus with Prinpaw, give us a little overview about what you have done in the past.
On the mountain or in my life?
Prior to the mountain, which brought you up to here.
Well, it's funny. It's really two paths that don't really make a lot of sense, but to me it kind of makes perfect sense. I started off in, as you were saying, the entertainment industry and production industry when I was 15 years old. I was one of these very, very shy kids. I just didn't really feel like I belonged, like most teenagers, right? And my parents got me introduced to a stage manager that was working on a local Broadway-bound production. And I went down and helped run props with them. That was the first time I had ever worked. I got paid. It was an equity theater. It was Broadway bound. I mean, it was professional stuff. And I loved it. I came alive and I started just working with my hands and working with my imagination, and I was able to, make things happen that were fun to do and then get the response from the audiences and things. So I got the bug, I got bit. And in theater, and one thing leads to the next, and so what I ended up doing then is working on some films, and then I ended up working back into the theater, and then I, worked in rock and roll touring industries, and I toured all over the world, and once you say yes to something, especially in that field, I always found just say yes and figure out how to do it later, and then as long as you don't burn bridges and you do a good job. So that kept me busy for a long time. And when I was busy, and I was always working away. And so I have a love of the woods. I grew up playing in the woods and things. I loved it. But of course I'm in big cities and I'm on airplanes and traveling. So it came to me that this property was available to buy, and I thought, I can't. It was 308 acres at the time, and I thought, I can't. How can I do that? How can I do that? But at the time they had mortgages for land. So I looked at it and I thought, well, sure, what the heck?
So let me interrupt you and let the audience know that this property that you're speaking about is Potash Mountain in Lake Luzerne, New York. So you traveled the world and came back to upstate New York,
right, absolutely.
which is beautiful. And you purchased 325 acres on this mountain, correct?
Collectively, yeah.
Collectively, and it's a privately owned lot of land.
It is.
All right, and then also the rest of the mountain is protected by the state. I believe New York State protects the rest of the mountain, so it's a private protected area in Lake Luzerne. So I just wanted to let people know where this property is that we're speaking about. So that brings you back to New York, and when you start Prinpaw. And Prinpaw is named after a dog that you used to have, right? Princess?
Yes, Prinpaw is, well, not exactly after her, but really she was, there were two things that were driving me. It sounds crazy, but two things that drove me to purchase this property. Number one, I just needed to get away from everything, you know, after coming back, because I'd be on the road for a long time, and then I, you know, wanted to get away into the woods, and that was my zen. And then also coincidentally, the same time that was coming available, I had this wonderful dog named Princess. She was a rescue dog, and she came with a name. And I wanted to change her name, and people said, "No, you can't change her name." And she was 2, so I had a dog named Princess. And she turned into, you know, it's one of those I saved her, she saved me stories.
Yeah,
she lived till 17 and a half as a Samoyed. But right around the same time, she had an injury, and a disc broke in her back. And she was paralyzed, and so we had the operation, and the vet had said, she's not going to live, she's not going to live. And I said, yes, she is. And the vet said, no, they'll need physical therapy. And I said, look, you don't know me and you don't know this dog, let's do the operation. They did the operation, and 3 days later she was like walking across the floor. But I purchased this with the intent of actually starting a rehabilitation for dogs and domestic animals. And I had gone as far as talk to the vets in the area, and they were all very much into it. And I thought, well, you know, thankfully I had the means to have the operation, take some time off from work, and rehab this wonderful animal. But what if I didn't? You know, I didn't have a normal job. I had, you know, I went, when I had time off, and then I was working. But so that's kind of how it inspired me, and then she got better really quickly, so we didn't have to do the rehab. But you know, and that vision is still there, and in some ways, it did rehabbed spirit and soul, but we didn't have to put pools and things in.
Yeah, so Prinpaw is now using the term, you know, nature, therapy, healing, wellness, wellness therapy, whatever term you want to put to it. Let's tell the audience what it is that you're doing under that umbrella of Prinpaw, and I know that you've done some bachelor parties and bachelorette parties and events, so please tell them all of what you're offering or what they might want to do.
Well, you know, it's a beautiful, beautiful piece of property, and it's funny, it's like I'm not saying that just because I have the ability to tend it. There's something about that property that's it's very living, it's very spiritual. When you are there, there's moving water everywhere. The water comes up out of the ground, it comes from rocks. There's a beautiful stream that goes well into a mile in the property. It's truly a magical place. There's boulders that are 10 feet tall to play on. It's a fun place to be. There's landings that are I just actually put my dome up. I have a 21-foot geodesic dome that is up now, and so I see it as a mix of spiritual, recreational retreat. You can go and enjoy it and just hike and walk, have picnics, or we are doing more programs now that are being led with other practitioners. For example, we were talking about yoga, doing yoga up either on the mountain, which is pretty amazing. So you climb up the mountain. And the mountain's 1,750 feet, by the way. It's Potash Mountain. It's a relatively easy climb. If you're a hiker, I would say it's a beginner to intermediate hike. Takes less than an hour if you just go intently. So you can hike up, and it's the view is a 70-mile view. It's just absolutely beautiful and very, very peaceful. And then hike down and have massage or a nice lunch. I've taken people up for just guided hikes that just want to experience it. One of my favorite things was a few years ago, a group from the Grange, which is a group in Corinth. They came up with kids, and we just played in the woods, and that was the lesson. And I asked them, favorite colors, and they journaled things, and we identified things, and it's just a magical place. I have a small cabin on it that I can use for writers' retreat and photography retreats. I also have used my background in film, and I've let it out for a couple of films have been shot there, or parts of films.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It has been used as well, and there's a picture that the audience will be able to see on the TV screen of the stream that you're speaking about, and the rocks and the trees, and it's been used by a wonderful photographer by the name of Deborah Neary, who has her practice in Saratoga Springs. She does a lot of women in nature photography, so there's one of her pictures the audience is going to be able to see today. So they'll see what Deborah's work, but they'll also see that stream that you're speaking about and the beauty of the mountain. Talk to us about, I am a nature woman myself, and I understand and appreciate the healing aspect of being in the grass and on the trees and in the water. Speak to the audience about how healing it can be to be out in nature, away from the noise and the crowds.
Well, some people, I mean, there's generally, I find two types of people. People that are very used to being on the outdoors, and people that they're just not. And the people that are not, sometimes, I don't want to say fear it, but they don't perhaps understand, like you said, how amazing it can be to be in touch, to put your feet on the ground where there's not concrete and there's not streetlights and there's not just the distraction of everyday life. Sure, there's bugs once in a while, but we have methods to control those, you know. But it's just, you know, to see a hummingbird walk along with you, or just to see the rocks and how things look and touch the earth, and a lot of times what I love to do is I'll lead silent walks, meditation walks, and we'll stop and we'll listen to identify, just like, what do you hear? And how often do you stop and listen?
Right.
And so it is very connecting. It's very holistic, you know. We come from the earth. We go back to the earth, and to be there is it's just a wonderful place.
You have a shower on the property, correct? You have a makeshift shower.
I do. I have
in a cabin on the property.
Yep.
I heard recently this term called glamping, which I've never heard of before, which I guess is glamorous camping. Is that the combo of the two? So you offer that as well as standard camping?
I do.
What are some of the other services that you provide?
Well, I'm also a wedding officiant. So I have had one wedding on the mountain, but I'd love to have more. I provide, essentially, I can take my background of set design and lighting design, believe it or not, and we can have a party where you bring in lights, or I bring in lights, and I have generators and things like that. So it can be as, you know, which is just the opposite, right, of listening to nature, but it's still pretty amazing to be out in nature and then have, you know, lighting, and it's, you know, some people want the comforts of home. What I'm going to be offering are more eco trips where it's kind of an introduction. If you go on the website, there'll be a calendar of kind of a menu of different types of things. And I have it very different because I want to see what people kind of gravitate to. So there'll be more of a family fun, enchanted walk, and then we'll have, again, more practitioner-based events and things.
The mountain's the star. It sounds to me that, you know, the mountain's the focus, and that's the healing, and that's the star role and then fitting into that mountain and receiving your healing and giving back. It sounds to me. I mean, am I stating that?
Yes, it's definitely the star. It's interesting when you're on the property. You know, you're in it, so you can't really see it. The view is, it's a very different view because you can't, you know, you're in it. I love the stream. I think, you know, you've seen the stream. I think there's something about that, and to sit in that water, and just to see the life that goes by. You know, it's enchanting.
So some of the benefits for people to participate, either whether they're just going to come up to climb the mountain, or whether they want to have a bachelorette or bachelor party, or whether they want to be married, or have some photography done. The benefits are being in nature, in being one with nature, which is very healing, calming, relaxing, brings you back to a center of self and understanding who you are, right, and calming you down. Any other benefits that you can think of in participating up there on your beautiful piece of property?
Well, I think it's just the benefits are they're abundant, and I think that, you know, one of the ways that I look at it is if it were a conference center. And you can do so much in a conference center. You can have all types of groups come in. I do lease it out for events, or for small events or large events. I lease it out and share it for other practitioners to have their groups there and obtain that. I make it available for fundraising. I've done some things for Big Brothers Big Sisters, for the Grange. It's really wonderful to, you know, to give. Part of my mission is to give back. This has been my child. It's people think, oh, you must, you know, have a lot of money, you own this mountain, and the reality is that everything I have goes into this mountain, and I'm looking to give it away now. Share it.
Share it.
I don't. Well, and I do mean, I don't mean give it away financially, but I mean give it away to share it, but to you know, I'm put it out there so it develops into something longer than I will be here for. And I don't have anything really set up yet right now. So I'm looking to grow a membership. So there can be like Friends of Prinpaw.
Beautiful.
And bring different artists in to have living art shows that are developed there.
And yet keep the property pristine.
Absolutely.
And pure.
Absolutely.
So the audience understands a little bit when you speak about practitioners. You and I are coordinating an event that will occur, we hope, towards the end of September. That will be a hiking trip up the mountain, down the mountain, a meditation when we come back down the mountain, as well as lunch. We will serve lunch, meditation, and then the guest can choose, right, between a massage, aromatherapy, or a Reiki treatment. So they're going to do some physical work, see the beauty of the mountain, enjoy that climb, come back down, meditate, and then relax. And so that's an example I wanted the audience to understand when we speak about practitioners. I own 2 businesses now, Inspiring Wellness Solutions and Spa Broadway. And so my massage therapist will be readily available, my aromatherapist, I'm a Reiki master myself. So that is an event that Donna and I are coordinating, and we'll have dates out to the public in the very near future. But what I would like people to do who are interested in that, and we're tentatively looking around the September 23rd, but we've got to fine tune that date, is to call you to set up anything, to reserve their spot. So what number would someone want to call you at to schedule the reservation for this event?
Well, they can go online to Prinpaw.com, Prinpaw, and there's a contact form there, or they can reach me at 518-480-8747.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And there will be other events as well, as Donna said. There will be yoga practitioners doing some yoga on top of the mountain. So what I encourage the audience to do is, if you have an event that you would like to host, you know, or be a part of, please do reach out to Donna, share what that idea and that event is. She is so open to sharing her mountain with you, and so open for you to feel the healing and the peace that comes with that mountain. So I encourage you, and as Donna said, Prinpaw.com. Thank you, Donna, so much for sharing this with us today and for sharing the mountain with everyone. It's beautiful.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to opening up to more community. And
I love it. Yeah. I'd like you to stay. Can you stay for a few more minutes for the rest of this show?
Absolutely.
Wonderful. So do reach out to Donna. Give her a call if you'd like to reserve a spot for our hike / massage aromatherapy Reiki day on the mountain in September. You will also see the beautiful fall foliage. So if you're not from the upstate New York, what a treat this will be for you to take that fall foliage in as you're climbing up and down the mountain. I look at it as a day of rebirth and renewal, so I do hope that you join us. Now, as you know, I am a holistic wellness practitioner, holistic meaning the whole you. So when you work with me or any of my team, you actually receive help and healing to care for all of your needs, your mental, your emotional, your spiritual needs, as well as your physical, financial needs, whatever it is that you need assistance and help with, the holistic you. So what I encourage you to do is go on my website, inspiringwellnesssolutions.com, take a look at the myriad of services that we offer, or go on to Spa Broadway. In the very near future, I will be offering spa services as well, and you'll hear more about that. Today, as I promised you, we are going to do a meditation that I hope helps you figure out what it is that you can let go of in your life so that you can move forward to receive the peace, the harmony, or the goals that you would like to receive in your life. So with that, take a pen and paper, have it ready. I'm going to have you close your eyes as I do this meditation. So, ready? Close your eyes, take a deep breath in, let it out. I'm going to read you this meditation, and at the end, you're going to jot some things down, okay? Are you ready? Here we go. When I speak, this is you speaking. Sometimes I feel like my life is a series of trapeze swings. I'm either hanging on to a trapeze bar, swinging along, or for a few moments, I'm hurtling across space between the trapeze bars. Mostly, I spend my time hanging out for dear life to the trapeze bar of the moment. It carries me along a certain steady rate of swing, and I have the feeling that I am in control. I know most of the right questions, and even some of the right answers. But once in a while, as I'm merrily, or not so merrily, swinging along, I look ahead of me into the distance, and what do I see? I see another trapeze bar looking at me. It's empty, and I know in that place in me that knows that this new bar has my name on it. It is my next step, my growth, my aliveness coming to get me. In my heart of hearts, I know that for me to grow, I must release my grip on the present, well-known bar to move to the new one. Each time it happens, I hope, no, I pray, that I won't have to grab the new one. But in my knowing place, I know that I must totally release my grasp on my old bar. And for some moments in time, I must hurtle across space before I grab the new bar. Each time I do this, I am filled with terror. It doesn't matter that in all my previous hurdles, I have always made it. Each time I am afraid I will miss, that I will be crushed on unseen rocks in the bottomless basin between the bars. But I do it anyway. I must. Perhaps this is the essence of what the mystics call faith. No guarantees, no net, no insurance. But we do it anyway, because hanging on to that old bar is no longer an option. And so, for what seems to be an eternity, but actually lasts a microsecond, I soar across the dark void called the past is over. The future is not yet here. It's called a transition. I have come to believe that it is the only place that real change occurs. I have a sneaking suspicion that the transition zone is the only real thing, and the bars are the illusions we dream up to not notice the void. Yes, with all the fear that can accompany transitions, they are still the most vibrant, growth-filled, passionate moments in our lives. And so transformation of fear may have nothing to do with making fear go away, but rather with the giving ourselves permission to hang out in that transition zone between the trapeze bars, allowing ourselves to dwell in the only place where change really occurs. It can be terrifying. It can also be enlightening. Hurtling through the void, we may learn to fly. Now, right now, open up your eyes and write down what comes to you immediately, something that you can let go of in your life. A relationship, a career, fear, negative thoughts. Write it down. And now with that, take that and see what you can do with it to make good changes in your life. If you're struggling to make those good changes, you know where to find me, Lisa Marie, 518-603-0326. I am a health counselor, and it is my job to help you live the healthy, happy life that you deserve and that you want. So give me a call if you're struggling. I wish you the best. Namaste. And until next time, be happy, be healthy, and be alive.